Tung Su, everyone. This is Master Matt, and I wanted to take a quick moment here to record a video about what we're talking about this week, which is not our typical life lesson that we're used to. It's the topic of consistency. And since we don't have any materials yet on this topic, I thought I'd make a quick video about what we're talking about this week. This is the week of June 3rd. So it'll help a little bit to back up and talk about what does consistency mean? What does that word mean? So something is consistent when it is performed the same way over a period of time, usually to achieve a goal, usually to get better at something or to do something fairly. In this case, it's probably more applicable when it comes to getting better at something. So consistency is something you see in nature sometimes. I'm big into astronomy, so one thing that came to my mind when I was thinking about what to talk about with the kids today and yesterday was the movements of the sun and the moon. You want to talk about consistent. The movements of the sun and the moon are so consistent that astronomers know 2,000, 3,000 years into the future when an eclipse is going to happen. They know what day, they know the time, they know where on Earth it's going to be visible, what it's going to look like. It's really mind-blowing to me how they can calculate this stuff. And they can do it because nature is consistent in this way. So you want to think about how consistency impacts your karate class, okay? Your martial arts training. There's two ways. So the first way is kind of a tactical way. It's when it comes to your techniques. So we talk sometimes about this idea about muscle memory. So performing, let's say, your punches in a consistent way will help you build muscle memory so that something becomes second nature. So performing your middle punch the same way every time we say go, no matter what we're doing in class, if you do it the same way every time, it'll become second nature. Think about that nature metaphor I used about the sun and the moon. That is so consistent that it can be predicted. So what you'd like to have in your punches is something that is so consistent that you can predict exactly how your punch is going to go. You look at the target, you know, if I do my punch the same way I've done it, you know, thousands of times before, I know exactly where on that target I'm going to hit. I know how hard it's going to hit, what the power is going to be, and how it should feel when my hand hits the target. The second way is more of a self-discipline way that this applies to your martial arts training. So it's June as I record this. So summer's coming up. There's a lot of vacation time coming up, understandably so. Like everyone's worked hard during the school year. You deserve some time off. But this is also an opportunity to fall behind in your karate training, to not be as consistent as you might be. So it's important to stay consistent, try to train at least twice a week. That's what we recommend. You may not necessarily be here to do it or at the Westchester Dojon. If you're out on vacation, I personally have 2 weeks of vacation coming up. I'm going to be practicing at least one day each of those weeks just to stay in shape, just to make sure my muscle memory is there. It's important to stay consistent. So it doesn't take that much to do this. Part of my personal karate journey, I guess, is when I was in college. I was in college for 5 years because of an internship program that lengthened my degree. In 5 years, I was not part of a single karate school. I did not go to any classes, mainly because I was extremely busy at the time. I really didn't have a lot of money to spend on this, and I didn't have a car. So there was a lot of factors that made it very difficult for me to go training. So what I did was every Sunday afternoon at the same time, I took 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half, I stretched out, and I practiced my basic punches and kicks. I ran through some forms. I did this by myself for 5 years in my dorm. And when I graduated, I moved out here, I found David Fuller Karate, and I jumped right back into training. I didn't really miss a beat at all because I stayed consistent with my training. So this is something that can help you in the short term for summer vacation, but it can also help you in the long term, especially if you're going to stay with karate and you're not going to give up. You don't want to lose the gains. You want to stay consistent with your training. So think about that this week. Hopefully you'll be able to apply it during the summer months. I know Sometimes the class attendance is a little shaky because of vacations, and it happens every season, every summer season. It's consistent. It's consistent. So try to keep your training up. That's the message we want to give you this week. So hope everyone's having a good week. Tang Su, and I'll see you in class.